Hi there and welcome to my next video on my YouTube channel, Unapologetic with Lorelei. Today is a little bit of a cloudy day, as you can probably see in the sky here, but it's very fresh. So for me, actually, all kinds of weather types have their charm, and you just have to deal with it and try to enjoy it, even rain or whatever. But today, cloudy and fresh. And today I also want to be talking with you about the topic the moment I stopped explaining myself. As the title says, it's about stop explaining yourself, or in this case, I did. And you'd have to know why you had to stop doing that. I didn't do it out of anger or out of spite or anything like that, but just because I got more understanding of why I'm explaining things and am I still supposed to explain myself like that. And there were some things happening in my life, and I started to, well, it was quite an eye opener actually to say, well, I think I have to stop doing that because I'm doing it for all kinds of reasons, except the most important one, and that's the one that relates to myself. I don't know if you can understand a little bit where I'm coming from here, and if you have a habit of doing that. And I can say I have a habit of I've had so I'm stumbling here. I have had um, quite years of doing so and explaining myself, and it was always for different reasons. I tried to be understood, or tried to make a point, or things like that. And now I became more calm within these things because I'm not trying to explain myself so much anymore. And actually, still people understand what I'm saying, even though I'm not explaining myself so loudly or so categorically. And it becomes quite peaceful actually. It becomes quite more calm for me as well, not to having to do that anymore. But it's something you have to learn. You have to teach yourself, and you have to be aware of the fact that you are doing that. So, but before I'm going to talk more about this, I'm going to flip my screen, show you around in the beautiful forest land that I'm here at the moment. It's always a combination of forest and heathland that I come across, apparently, but it's very nice to see. And a little tip maybe, perhaps you're watching this video or you're watching always your YouTube on your mobile, because I can tell you I'm showing you sometimes some pretty more nature sites that might be wonderful to see on your TV screen. It's just a tip, just a hint, whatever you prefer, of course, or whatever your possibilities are. But I'm going to talk more about the topic of right. So I just flipped the screen, and now you're seeing what I'm seeing and where I'm standing at the moment. It's very nice, very peaceful part of the day as well. There are some people sometimes walking around here a little bit with their dogs or jogging, but it's big, and everybody's doing quietly their thing, and it's nice. It's nice to be here. And well, coming back to the topic of today, that I didn't really stop explaining myself because I was angry, or because I was clear on something, or out of spite or something like that. But because I realized that for a long time I've been explaining myself a lot actually, and for all kinds of different reasons, and it needs a little bit of, well, not soul searching, but you need to be a little bit of aware of why you are doing that. That is, if you are doing it as well, if you can resonate to this, because I did, and I did find out certain things, and I asked myself questions, and I said, well, why am I making those kind of choices to explain myself, and even to myself. I had sometimes more than one self-talk, and it's not just with somebody else, but also explaining yourself to yourself as well. That's another one. And also because I think I needed some more space, because it's kind of started to feel quite claustrophobic a little bit after a while. It's just you always going in your head about these things, and how you explain it, or should you explain it, and even in my mind I was explaining things to myself or to other people, and they don't even realize it. They didn't know about it. So you have to say, well, why doesn't feel it right anymore, and why am I changing my mind about this, and yeah, all these things. So I thought many times that explaining would bring more understanding, and that if I could just find the right words, that well, officially everyone will be feeling comfortable with my decisions, or my way of doing things. And but what I really realized eventually was that a lot of people around me, and who were respecting me that I know of really, and even loved me, that they didn't need that explanation of me. And I was wondering, well, why keep on doing that, because it's no use for anybody. It's just a lot of words and a lot of, yeah, energy you're using up, and it's not even necessary. So yeah, it takes some it takes some thinking about that as well. So I said, I don't know if you can resonate to this, if you doing this as well, or if you have people in your surroundings who are doing this, and that you see them going through it. So perhaps, some of these words that I'm going to share with you here, they might help you or somebody else, or maybe just pleasant to listen to. And I hope in the meantime you are enjoying the beautiful nature that I'm showing here. Sometimes I wish I knew if I could bring over the vibe from where I am here now, this nice peaceful vibe. And I hope you enjoy it as well. But yet again, I also must say that people who don't understand why you stop explaining yourself like they used to from you, that but you realize then after a while, people who don't understand it, they weren't actually listening anyway. And so it was kind of a wasted time for me, a wasted effort to explain, because sometimes you saw their eyes going away and you see them just not being tuned into your words anymore, and many times not even interested. So why should I keep explaining it? That's what I came to the conclusion. Maybe that's got to do with age, but I don't know. It's just phases perhaps you're going through. I'm 63 years of age now, and well, yeah, I find it kind of a relief that have come across this thing for me about explaining about myself, and explaining myself rather, and because it became a real life habit for me anyway, and explaining it can it did become a habit, as I said, and a way of managing my reactions, and softening my boundaries even. I wasn't really consequent with my boundaries. I don't know if you know that some people are very disciplined with it, and not me, and that's a little of a pitfall sometimes. And I'm learning. I'm still learning, and I think we're all learning. And speaking of learning, I'm sharing on my channel here. I'm sharing daily videos about lots of topics and things that we are well, many of us are going through in daily life. And it might be handy to point out them sometimes, or to say, well, hey, that's true, I have that as well. So if you want, you can subscribe to my channel. I'm posting daily videos, and well, you can also leave a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you don't agree. But what I'm mainly doing is sharing my life experiences and my insights. And I'm not a guru, I'm not an inspirational motivator or anything like that. I'm just telling you honest to God from my feelings, from my side, and my insights. And of course, if you don't agree, just share it, and give me other insight as well, because we can all learn from each other, I guess. And I also know for myself, deep down in my heart, that I also many times kept explaining myself because I was preventing other people from being disappointed, or I was trying to avoid conflicts, and especially when it became to family and relatives. And but I stopped with it. I stopped explaining, and some things did shift actually for the better. And I did those things. I did stop behaving like that with my explanation all the time. Not because I became cold towards the persons, or not because I stopped caring about them, but I trusted myself enough to not having to explain myself anymore. And if they want to understand me, they will. And if they don't, they don't. And that's just simple as that, really. And but I myself really started to realize that I trusted myself. I knew what felt right, and I knew and still know what I'm choosing. Okay, there's a helicopter. I don't know if you catch the sound of it, because I have a noise cancelling microphone here, so you might not hear it. But going back to this, I know what I'm choosing. I think I always have done that, but just now I'm doing it without the explanation. And I don't really need approval anymore, not even for myself so much. And it's a kind of approval that you think is being wrapped in a little bit of understanding, but it's not the same. Understanding and explanation is not always the same. It sounds strange, but You don't always need to give an explanation to be understood. That was a big one for me to realize that. And it's surprising to see actually that me being more silent in that respect, it didn't create distance between me and people. It just created more clarity even, because a lot of things didn't need all these words. Things were clear from the start, or virtually from the start. So that's such a relief. It gives space in your mind, space in your actually time and talks and everything. And then still people knew where I stood, and I knew where I stood, and that's where it's at, and that's okay. I think it doesn't need more than that. That's just where it's at. So once again, I think you can sum it up for me. What I did for myself, that you don't owe everyone an access to your reasoning, and you don't need to justify how you're growing into things, or into your plans, or anything like that. And certainly you don't need to explain your boundaries that protect yourself, your peace, your calm, because the moment you start to explain that, you open up again possibilities of other people's influences and talks to come in between, and it might be just becoming more confusing again. So no, I think over explaining and explaining yourself, it gives more space if you stop doing that. And how you learn about yourself like that, well, you just have to be aware of it. You just take your time, and daily, I guess daily, just keep an eye on yourself or what you're doing, and ask yourself questions. Am I trying to be understood here, or I'm to try to be accepted, or trying to fit in, or really, do I really think it's so important that I'm being understood here? And because otherwise your whatever it is can't go through. And many times the answer you will honestly can give yourself, no. Things will still go the way you want them to go, and you will still be doing what you want to do, the way you want to do it, and how you want to do it, and what you want to do. So by saying that, I hope this kind of resonates to you, and these words might be a little bit of a spark or an idea somewhere for you. And I really, really hope to see you in my next video, or in one of my next videos. And by this, I wish you a very nice day. I hope you take care of yourself, and take very good care of yourself. That's very important, and your loved ones. And for sure, I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.